Seasoned actor. How many have been doing this for like over 6 months? Raise your hand.
Raise your
Over a year. 5 years.
No.
10 years. Okay. A few. Yes, awesome. Okay. So I wanted to talk real fast about success. How do we measure success in an actor? Okay. Some people think success is dollar amount. When you first start out in this business, success is not dollar amount. Success is enjoying what you're doing along the journey and learning. Because you'll be growing your whole life in acting. It's not just in the beginning. I've seen a few people, though, in the beginning make it big, but it's very rare. Okay? So if you love doing this, then enjoy it. Enjoy it and jump in with both feet and do it. And I wanted to give you an example of an actor that has done that. Josh, over here. Come on over you. Josh 12. So Josh, to you look at him and you may see that he looks handicapped. To me, I don't see handicap at all. I'm not joking. This actor is not handicapped at all. I told Josh one day, hey Josh, I'm going to be working at the LDS Film Festival. Do you want to come and help me? So Josh calls me, and he made it 2 tracks from West Valley to Bus, and then to Barnes & Noble, which was about half a mile from tracks, and said, can you pick me up? It was like cold outside, okay? I had no idea that he did all that by himself. I mean, he's not handicapped. So I took him with me to the LDS Film Festival, and we ran into a bunch of, he got to meet all the different directors and producers in Utah. I introduced him to T.C. Christensen, and I put Josh on the spot. I said, Josh, show T.C. Christensen your comedy, which you're going to see in a minute. And he did it like that. And he could have said, oh, I'm a little shy, or not now, but Josh said, oh, of course. And Josh did his comedy just like that. Well, T.C. remembered it. 2 years later, Josh got to be in, you want to tell him?
2 times.
Okay. 17 Miracles?
No.
What's the second one?
Rescue.
Ephraim's Rescue, which is part 2 of 17 Miracles. And he had a really nice, and T.C. remembered him because Josh's comedy was so good. 2 years later, I get a phone call. Hey, Sheila, you remember that Josh Twells that did that comedy for me 2 years ago at the LDS Film Festival? We want to put him in our movie. And I said, call Josh up, and you've never seen anybody so happy. but so, and I want to show you, so is it important to have something ready to show? Like this? You're an actor. If you was to say to Robin Williams, show me your acting skills, what would he do? He'd entertain you. He'd entertain your socks off, okay? So that's why I'm saying, if you love this, jump in with both feet, and don't just do it like, some people think they can practice their sides is their part. Everybody doesn't know that. 10 minutes, you know, and then go to an audition and wonder why they don't book it. You know, it's got to be something that you love, something that you jump in with both feet and you give your heart and your soul to if you want to be, you know, successful. When I mean success, I'm measuring success in enjoying and feeling good about doing it. So, all right, I'm going to give the floor to Josh for a minute. He's going to do his comedy.
Okay, I hate when people push me around. You know the sign that's by the elevator that says, in case of fire, do not use elevator, use stairs. What does expect me to do? Push myself down the stairs? People always answer me rude and pushing was like, excuse me, how do you go to the bathroom? Depends. So you wear a diaper? No. Then this woman said to me, are you anorexic? Well, I'm not anorexic. Then why are you so skinny? Because I'm on a sober diet. And guess what? It works. I know that people always have me hard time understanding when I talk, but I hate it when they constantly asking me, what? That's the time I went to McDonald's. Welcome to McDonald's, kind to order. Yes, I want a cheeseburger and a Coke. What? I want a cheeseburger and a Coke. What? I can't read sign English. What? Are you a moron? Yes, I am a Mormon. Can I see your order? Cheese, burger, and a Coke. He finally went to my order and said a cheeseburger and a Coke. I got a newspaper and the Pope. Then Ozzy Osbourne came in. You and do cheeseburger and a Coke for Ozzy Osbourne. That's right, a cheeseburger and a Coke. Thanks.
Comic-Con.
Okay, last week I went to Comic-Con and I went to see Carrie Ellis panel. Do you know who Carrie Ellis is?
Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley from Princess Bride. And I got to ask him a question. And I asked him if we can do Battle of the Wits from the Princess Bride. And I got the opportunity to do that scene in front of the entire panel.
And then it's been all over Facebook, and I keep broadcasting it over
Yeah.
and over and over and over again. Hi, come on in, have a seat. I have one back there. So the reason why I wanted to share that with you is you have to seize the moment. You never know when opportunity is going to come, and you've got to be ready. So Josh, how many was watching this panel? What did you say?
Like the whole room,
Like 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, 300?
like 350.
So after 350 people, Josh says to, what's his name again?
Carrie Ellis.
Carrie Ellis. He says, hey, can I do Battle of Wits with you? You know, from Princess's Bride. And so the actor stopped everything and did Battle of Wits with him. So I'm just saying, you talk about seizing the moment.
And that was my seize of the moment. I just want to show that I can act. I can be entertaining. Anybody can be entertaining. It doesn't matter if you're old, young, disabled or not. You can act.
The only handicap that we have is up here.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the only handicap. And that's why I look at Josh, and he's got to be one of the most healthy people that I've ever met. So, thank you, Josh. He called me like 5 times yesterday. And I knew, I was so busy, but I knew what he wanted to get to I wanted to ride to the class. I'm going, of course. Got to have Josh here. I'm going to be successful without Josh. Okay, so, everything we do in our training is for one purpose. It's for focus. Okay? So, all these things around here are for one purpose, to help us focus. If our focus is strong, how's our acting going to be? It's going to be phenomenal. I have had actors, when they walk out of audition, they say, I'll get a call, and they'll say, you'll be getting a call any minute. I nailed this. Or before they walk into the audition, this one's mine, just watch it. You know? And we've had some great opportunities. I mean, we was working on, right before Gary Coleman passed away, we was working on a series with him doing an animation job, an animated series. And the director said to Gary in a room, in the sound room, he said, Gary, this is a scenario. So you are with a 500-pound black guy as your partner, and you guys are driving along the beach in an El Camino you're listening to Beethoven, and you know your friend's so big that you have him in the back of the El Camino and you put water in it because it's so hot outside. And he said, that's your scenario. Gary Coleman went on an hour and created an entire script from that. And we're all just sitting there with our mouths just like, I mean, I felt like, it's one of the few times I can say, I felt like I was in the room with greatness. You know? It's like if you were in the room with Robin Williams, you would feel that. You know, wow, this is greatness. You know, you just felt like you were in the room with somebody that had thrown their heart and soul into this business. You know, and that's what I see in Josh. I could get Josh in front of any director or producer and say, show us something, Josh. And Josh would perform like that. And instantly he'd stick out in their mind. So that's really important. So everything we do is for focus, all right? The one thing I didn't write on here is I'm a big believer also in method acting. Not all the time, but it is does anybody know what method acting is? Really quick, Quincy goes, I do. I worked with Shielia quite a bit. So method acting is using people from your life, situations from your life. It's a lot easier than like if you have to create a story. It's a lot easier to use my neighbor next door, you know, or than just a figment of your imagination, or you need an antagonist, an ex-husband, or an ex-wife, or you know, great antagonist. You know, they had no idea they helped you become a brilliant actor. You know, so method acting is really important. I wanted to go through all these because everything is to train your focus. Moment before. Don't start your scene with your lines. If you start your scene with your lines, then it's like you're warming up in the middle of it. You ever done a scene and you feel like at the end, oh, that last line, I was there. It was brilliant. So how do we do a moment before? How do we act without words? Do we act without words? You guys are acting right now. You know that? You're acting like students. Are you communicating with me? And are you saying anything at all? Yeah, exactly. So always have a moment before. What should the moment before be about? It should be about whatever your lines are, whatever you've chosen underneath the lines. That's your moment before, okay? And so you're going, so you're still going, well, explain that more. Well, let's do that. Okay, so situation, relationship. Critical. Relationship is who are you talking to? What is it about? And it could be even relationship with a place. For example, if I said, and I always use this example, my old hometown, it's just words, right? But if I said, my old hometown, did you feel anything? Yeah, you felt it, okay? So, do we play emotions?
Yes.
Do we?
Yes.
Never. We never play emotions. If I play emotions, I'm happy. Do you believe me?
No.
Yeah, you don't play emotions. You play thoughts. You become the master of your thoughts. But if I go, did you feel it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, because you become a master of your thoughts. The greatest actors are master of their thoughts. Daniel Day-Lewis, I believe, won more Academy Awards than any other actor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. He said, when he accepted his last Academy Award for his work on Abraham Lincoln, he said, quote, I'm grateful to my wife for all the men she's had to sleep with over the years. What do you mean by that? All of the different characters that he became that person. You guys, is there any more chairs over here?
Yeah, there's a.
We got one over
There.
here.
Okay,
And use
and here's-
this. Everybody slide over. You can get a couple
There's one
chairs right there.
Okay, there's one right there too.
You guys sit right there.
Dave, you could sit over there with me too.
Oh, okay. Hey, yeah, AJ, I'd love to come sit with you.
Yay.
Welcome, we're so glad to have you. Okay.
For all
So,
us short people.
Short guys gotta stick together.
That's right.
We never play emotions. Alright, we become master of our thoughts. there are a few actors that have walked into my office that are just naturally, they can play emotions and it's natural. Very few. I'd say maybe 5 out of the 20 years that I've been doing acting. And it's just like you give them one scene after the next, and it's like, wow, wow. But most of us, it's a journey, and it's learning. But we become the master of our thoughts, and those are the best actors. So, situation and relationship, all right? Okay, so relationship is, like I just gave you an example, relationship with place, okay? How I felt about my old hometown. Okay, give me a volunteer. Anybody want to volunteer? Okay, look at Steph. Look at the audience. Okay, so, my old hometown, happy.
My old hometown.
Did you think of that? Yeah? Okay, good. Okay, now don't think of thought, just say it.
My old hometown.
You see a difference? Did you see a difference? Okay, now sad.
My old hometown.
You thought of thought? Perfect, now just say it.
My old hometown.
You see a difference? Did you see a difference? Yeah, she's pretty natural though.
I'm in tune with my emotions.
Good, I love it. Okay, thanks. So, again, be master of your thoughts. Okay, situation. Situation goes along with relationship. Where I am is really important, okay? I had an actress come in once and audition for me, and she's telling me how the big things that she'd done in LA. And actually the scene said, if she'd have read the entire page, the scene talks about how she's in a cadaver lab and that there's blood on the floor. And so she walks, so her line is at the very bottom of the page, and all she says is hi, is this the cadaver lab? Okay, that's exactly how she did it. But if you would have read the entire page, you would have realized that the situation was, it was kind of scary. Somebody had died, somebody was killed, there was blood on the floor, and so I'm just saying that if you just read your line, I don't think you're ever going to make it as a good actor. It's just, you're just reading lines. And a lot of actors in Utah get a one-liner. So how do you develop that? How do you develop that one line? Well, you make up an entire story, and you erase it all, and then you just say that line. I don't mean erase it all. It all goes inside. You still have it. You have that entire story, and you only say that one line. See what I'm saying? Okay, so that would be situation. Situation goes along with relationship. Again, relationship is who you're talking about, a place, a person, who you're talking to. So relationship, to me, I think relationship is probably the most important thing. Sideways. Relationship is the heart of acting. It's that important. Okay, relationship is really critical. Yeah. And method acting is the easiest to get there. Because I would explain method acting, again, is using people from your life. As some homework I would suggest everybody does, is take 10 relationships in your life. Your antagonist, your best friend, your mom, your dad, the comedian in your life. Think of all of the relationships in your life and write them down. Write them down, maybe my mom, funny. If I just explain my mom, funny, elderly, hard of hearing. Drives me bananas, but I love her more than anything. Okay. You write down your relationship with your husband, your son, everybody that you deal with. Your assistant. And the reason being is, and then when you come up with your sides, you guys know what sides are? Everybody know what sides are? Sides is your part. Okay. When you come up with your sides, then go over all your relationships. And I suggest as your homework, what you do is you write down, I would say have about 10 relationships. Do this every day. This is going to really strengthen you. Have 10 relationships and just say a sentence. Like if I was to say the sentence, I want to wear your shoes. Okay, it's just a line. But if I said, let me think here. I'm trying to think of a pair of shoes. And coming up with my relationship and my situation with a pair of shoes. Okay, I'm going to pick my mom's shoes. She likes to wear these big men's shoes that look like, they're like penny loafers, but they look like they're 10 pounds each. And I think she likes to wear those so that she knows that she's got solid footing so she doesn't fall. I want to wear those shoes. Okay, okay, so, I want someone to do that. Volunteer. Josh, okay, Josh, I want to wear your shoes, is what you're saying, okay? And you're going to add in situation, relationship. You're going to say it to your mother. Face the audience. Don't look at my shoes. My shoes don't matter. So how would you say, what kind of shoes would your mom be wearing?
Wendy's shoes.
Okay, pick a pair. This is homework you can do every single day. When what you're doing is you're learning to put situation and relationship under lines. Okay, and because it's not what you say, right? It's how you say it. Go ahead, Josh.
I want to wear those shoes.
Why? Why do you want to wear her shoes?
That's goofy.
Goofy shoes. Okay, I can tell. Okay, good. Another volunteer. Okay, AJ? I want to wear your shoes to your dad. Why would you say that?
Because they're huge.
Because they're cute. But why would you want to wear them? See, now we're over here, we're asking why. Why?
They're
What?
funny.
They're funny? And you, okay, why do you want to be funny? Are you filming it? No, is it?
Probably because I want to be funny because I'm like my dad, and my dad is pretty funny.
So that's why you can now go ahead and say it.
I want to wear your shoes.
Okay, so something as simple as I want to wear your shoes. You got to know who you're talking to, why, what, when, where, how. You got to put a lot underneath the lines. Any other volunteer? Okay, I'll give you a different one. Okay, I'm going to say, can I have your lunch? Okay. Who would you say it to? Okay, why? Well, so now we want to get into is strongest possible choice. So just a colleague isn't
Yes.
strong enough. What do you like to eat? Vegan? What kind of things do you like to eat vegan?
Vegetables and fruits,
Raw or cooked?
mostly raw.
Okay, so okay, you're really hungry. What's something you would be doing that would make you really hungry?
Exercising.
Like what kind? Like you hike?
No, like jogging or swimming and stuff.
Okay, so let's say you went on, what's the biggest run you've been on?
1.5 miles.
Okay, so she's been on a 1.5 mile run. We're gonna exaggerate it.
Yeah.
Oh, what we're doing now, I forgot to add this, we're using our vivid imagination. Okay, okay, so, we're gonna say she's been on a 10-mile run, okay? And the reason why is because her car broke down in the desert. And what we're doing now is we're finding strongest possible choice. Strongest possible choice is gonna be strongest possible scene. Weak choice is gonna be a weak scene, right? Okay, so her car broke down in the desert. She's had to run 10 miles. And let's say make it even stronger. She had to sleep in her car all night till the sun came up. Okay, because this was in Yellowstone and she's worried about bears eating her.
No.
Okay, so great vivid imagination I have, right? Okay, so she's starving, all right? And so she hasn't ate for like 24 hours. And, because she got lost in Yellowstone driving around, ran out of gas, or whatever, the car broke down. And so, did you call somebody to help you, or is this a stranger? What's the strongest choice?
I just stopped the car.
But,
Like a car that just came by close.
but why would you say I want to eat your lunch to them? See, we're asking over here, we're asking why, what, where, when, why, how. Why would you want to say you want to eat your lunch? Hi guys, come on in. Let's see, do we have open chairs? Are those open? We have 2 open chairs. Yes?
To answer your question, like, we go out to lunch all the time, and what always happens is I get my food, she gets hers, and I look down at mine, and it, like, sucks, and I make instantly a bad choice, and I'm like, I want to eat your lunch.
I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. Really good. I like your choice. Good situation, good relationship. That's a good one. Okay, let's help her finish here. Now, okay, so, who would you say that didn't want to eat your lunch? I would think it would be somebody she knew,
Yeah.
right? So let's say it's somebody you were able to call before your phone lost service for help. okay, and somebody came to help you, who would it be?
Most likely my twin sister.
Do you have a twin sister here? Awesome. We got twins if we need them. Okay. Okay, so your twin sister, you called her for help,
Yes.
right? And does she like vegan like you do?
Yes.
Okay, so, but she only brought it for herself. 'Cause well, she didn't know. She just jumped in the car and ran wherever you were, and she was eating, and okay. So, all right. So, May Crystal, Crystal's in the pretty pink here. Your sister, okay. And I want to see a moment before, okay. A moment before is maybe looking at her lunch and thinking, man, I'm starving and I'm so hungry and I haven't eaten in so long. And then I want you to think about it and then say it. But then when she's done doing it, I want her to stay there.
Just baby.
Well, when I mean stay there in her thoughts of oh, look at that. It's like, oh man, cucumbers and they have been soaked in vinegar and tomatoes and oh, that cheese looks so good. Okay.
I want to eat you lunch. Right now.
Okay. All right. Did you believe her?
No.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so now we're gonna add one more thing to help her. We're gonna let her improv. Okay? Because improv is a valuable tool. Okay, so improv is go ahead and talk to her about, man, I've been stranded out here since last night. We drove around till we got lost in Yellowstone, we ran out of gas, and it's just been really scary, and we've seen bears, and I'm really, really hungry, and look at that lunch. I mean, okay, you go into it. So you get to improv, okay, build up the situation and the story, and then you're gonna say your line, which is, I want to eat your lunch. You get to use your improv, so do that.
I want to eat your lunch.
You can't say it yet. So, no, I want you to improv. I want you to build up to it. Build up to it. Talk about it. How good it looks. Use your vivid imagination.
I'm so hungry. And the food looks so good. Can I eat some? Can I have your lunch?
That was better.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Give me five. Okay, go ahead and sit down. Okay, so that gets into this one. That was great. Good job. Okay, so your lines is only 50% of your audition. Okay? The other 50% is what you're thinking. Your moment before, your moment after. I love to tell this story. I have this actor, and he books every movie that comes to town, hands down. Him and his brother, every single movie. The Stevens brothers. And David, I called him up and I said, hey David, I'm going to send you on an audition, but it is a Hispanic role. He's Caucasian as I'll get out. Okay? I says, but they're really having a hard time finding this actor, and it is bilingual too, and you're supposed to speak Spanish. He goes, well, I can't speak Spanish, but if you give me a line, I can learn it in a heartbeat, I said, okay, well, let's get you on this audition, okay? So none of us knew how big this movie was going to be. It hasn't come out yet. It's called Man on Carrying Road, okay? This was a director from Breaking Bad, okay? I don't even know if we knew that. We didn't know a lot about this audition. So sent him to the audition, and he had to audition pretending he had third-degree burns from his neck down to his arm, hand, and no skin on the bone from here down. None of his fingers had any skin. That was his audition. He had to go there during the audition. Okay? When he finished his audition, the director of Breaking Bad, one of the directors, hugged him. Okay? And then they wanted to talk to him and said, well, the role's yours. They told him, they said, the role's yours, and they wanted to talk to him. He was wishing he could have just walked out when he was done with his audition. Why? Because he wanted them to sit there and wow, think about what he had just done. But he said what he did do is he took a few minutes when he was done with the audition and came down out of that much pain before he started talking to him. Because he wanted them to respect his trade. So that's what I mean when I say your line is only 50% of your audition. So in every single scene that you do, you want to ask yourself that. When you think you're done, you want to ask, have I got this down to 50%? is my line's only 50% of my performance. Okay. Like, anybody see 12 Years a Slave? Oh, the lead actor. Wow, I can't think of his name right now. What's his name?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
What did he say again?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Thank you. I loved his. There's so many scenes where they put the camera on him and he would say absolutely nothing, and you could read his thoughts. The acting, I thought his acting was absolutely just brilliant. So
Same with Angelina in that movie. Just so many shots on her, and you just,
Maleficent.
without her talking, you knew what she was thinking and what, you know, it was brilliant.
exactly. So brilliant actors. It's all about your thoughts, what you're thinking, becoming master of your thoughts, coming up with what's going on underneath the lines. Is situation, relationship is who I'm talking to, what it's about. I mean, who I'm talking to and who I'm talking about. Okay. Method acting is just easier to use people in our lives. It's easier than creating a figmented character out of nowhere, you know? So, because we already got everything about that person already up here. Improv helps you to go there. It helps your focus, it builds your focus. Of course, you can't improv in the audition, but I would definitely improv in your practice. I would improv in your head when you get to the audition. And moment before, like I loved it when you used your improv. You set up the scene, and then when you did your line, it was very believable. We could all see that. Okay, so it really does help you out. Okay, vivid imagination. Every actor has to have a vivid imagination. If you say, I don't know. What are you an actor for? You got to have a vivid imagination. If you don't have a vivid imagination, build it. You know? And how do you build it? Over here. Who? This one right here. Who? What? When? Where? Why? How? Okay. Build your vivid imagination. Okay. When do you book your audition? Do you think you book it right there in the room?
No.
Not unless you're like Robin Williams or people that have been, Gary Coleman, who've been doing this for years and years and years. You usually book it in the homework stages. Unless you're like Dave, go, and you just look the part, you know. And you've done amazing social media and you're out there. Moment before we talk about that, getting your lines down to 50% of your audition. Strongest possible choice. Like, for example, when we first started talking about your scene, give me your name again. Nala. Okay, Nala said, oh, a coworker. So that's not a strong choice, right? Unless it's a coworker that's my antagonist, that tries to blackmail me, that, you know what I mean? That beats me up, or, you know, whatever. You can embellish, you can add to it. But first, get your vivid imagination. Your vivid imagination has to have somewhere to play on. Did you have a question?
No question.
Oh, just
Stretching. Just stretching, sorry.
Go right down slowly.
Character development. Let's talk about character development. Crystal, tell me about character development in your last movie. You had the lead in.
Well,
Come on
first
up and
I
talk
just,
to us. So the camera can see your beautiful face.
when I first got the script, when he told me he wanted to come in for an audition, I always get emotional about it. But when I read it, just everything, personal life situations, people in my family, everything was just rolling in my mind as I was reading this life of this girl and everything that she went through. And so I instantly just got a personal connection to her. And as I was reading this, I was applying personal stuff in my own life along with my imagination, because obviously you haven't gone through everything that they've gone through. But you can put real life people and you know, what would her life be like with, and what would your life be like with if this had happened to you with people in your life. And so as I was reading through the whole thing, and by the time I was done reading, I was just sobbing. And I was on the set of Granite Flats because I worked every day on there doing stand-in work, and I had to skip lunch that day, and I just had to cry it out underneath the tree. And when I went and auditioned, I felt so connected to this character, and I felt like I was her. And so I booked the audition right after right after I'd done it. But it's just, you know, it's such an amazing, it's so amazing when you actually book a role and you have the opportunity to develop this whole character, because I honestly, I feel like I know Annabelle. I feel like it's one of my best friends, and I know every hardship in her life that she ever went through. And she doesn't really exist, but she feels so real to me, and like she really is this real person to me, you know. And it's really cool. Acting is so cool because, I mean, it really is like therapy. So many of us, we have so many things that happen in our life, and we just hold in those emotions because we can't go around. You know, it's not normal or anything to just show how you're feeling all the time. So we have to hold that all in. And if you can just tap into that, everyone's had horrible things in their life happen. Everyone's seen horrible things, horrible decisions people close to them have made. You know, and we all have that inside. We have to tap into that. And when we're able to act and we tap into that, we can emotionally heal from things, you know. So
I think that was beautiful. Thank you.
Can I just say something about that movie?
Please do.
Because I've seen it at the film festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there with my wife, and she's handing me Kleenex. Usually I'm the and it is absolutely fabulous. I'm so excited. It's finally hitting the theaters because it's been, what, January or February, whenever that was, that they showed it? Yeah. And wow, I'm just so excited because it impacted my life. When you can make something, I mean, you have achieved in such a short time in your career, I don't know if you realize this, you've made something that can be used to actually touch people's lives for years to come. And that's one of the beautiful things about making film, is if we can do what I've been trying for 30 years to be able to make something that I felt like when I'm dead and gone, people will still watch this and get something from it. Yeah. And you've done that. It's awesome.
Thank you, Dave. That was beautiful. So I love what Crystal said, and me and Crystal did a lot of training together too. I love what Crystal said, is she used people from her life, she used situations, she used her method acting, which is a place of what you know, she used her vivid imagination, and then she worked on her character development. She thought of why this person would say, what this person would do. And so like if you've never been a taxi cab driver, you know, and you need to play the part of a taxi cab driver, we've got the internet. Look up every taxi cab driver you can. You know what I mean? Learn how a taxi cab driver does things. If you've never been a druggie and you're playing a druggie role, you know, read everything you can, look up everything you can about that. Whatever you're playing, look it up, you know. Become that person along with you. It's kind of like the two of you take all of your life situations, then you add the character development along with it. Daniel Day-Lewis. Man, I would have loved to hear his character development of coming up with how he was Abraham Lincoln. You know, I'm sure he knows everything any historian would ever know about Abraham Lincoln. Daniel Day-Lewis would know that. You know, and then you jump into it. And acting is healing. That's what I love about acting is I've done scenes myself where I've been crying, and then the coach or the acting coach would say, okay, stop there, and he'd bring in another student, and I would go there again. And I just use situations from my life underneath the lines, and nobody knows that. Nobody knows that you're releasing, you're healing from something, you know. The saddest thing is when I get an actor and they've got this wall up because they've been through so much in their life, they can't let this wall down and they can't be vulnerable. As an actor, you got to be vulnerable. But save those moments. You can save those moments to release in your acting. And so acting it's amazing. I think it's one of the most incredible forms of healing that there is out there. So I want to take 5 minutes to talk about social media. So we don't have to be in Hollywood right now to make our careers happen. Do you guys believe that? Yes, it helps, but you can make it happen here. Okay? Social media is incredible. for example, working on this reality TV show called The Audition. Okay? And basically what it is top actors that are unknown, okay, that are really good. So how are we going to pick those actors to be in the reality TV show? We're going to pick high social media scores. Okay. So let's say that you're a director. Okay, Miss Gigi's a director. Okay, we're going to pretend here for a minute. Okay, and she's got a movie that she wants to make. And she's got actor A here and actor B. Actor A is good, actor B is just as good. But actor A has a following on, let's say, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube of, say, 50,000. Actor B has no following. She's going to book, if they're just as good, she's going to book actor A. Why? Because that's 50,000 people that are going to come and see her film because this actor A is busy on social media, making sure that all of her fans and everybody know everything that she's doing. Do you see what I'm saying? So that is a new wave in films. In fact, there is a movie out right now, and they're picking the male and the male and female leads. They're letting America choose them. It's right along the same lines of what we're doing. And how are they doing that is social media. So social media is huge. And so you wonder, like, what can I record? How can I build up my social media, right? Well, Dave's going to talk about that in about 5 minutes. But one way is like YouTube. You know, go on there. Talk about becoming a beginning actor. So, you know, talk about what you've done. Okay? Let's say you're an expert at something. You're an expert at motorcycle driving. You're an expert at singing. Okay? Go on there. Teach a beginning singing lesson to little kids or to adults, anybody. You know, and let's say you get like 50 followers. And then do part B on singing, how to sing for, you know, this is part 2 of teaching you singing lessons, you know. Maybe you can't afford to go out and take singing lessons, or maybe you're just too busy, but you really want to learn how to do it. Maybe you don't want to have anybody hear your voice yet, so, you know, so I'm here to teach you how to do this and be a successful singer, you know. And then part 3, part 4, and then watch your YouTube following grow. Then you can take that and you can put it on Facebook. You see what I'm saying? Does anybody want to be, and maybe shorten it. But then you can also, anybody heard of Vine? Yeah. Vine is awesome. Shorten it for Vine. Vine is like 6 seconds. You know? But Vine is incredible. And then shorten it for Vine. Put it, and then Twitter it. You know? And then every audition you go on for singing, or, you know, talk about it. You know? There's so many ways that you can build up your social media. It's incredible. And it is important. Because I guarantee you, if I'm doing a movie, or if I'm picking actors for the reality TV show, The Audition, that we're working on, I'm going to look at, of course, I'm going to look at who's the best. That's the number one thing to me. I want the best. I want actors up there that for some reason, there's a lot of actors that haven't made it in Hollywood. And they're dang good. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that I'm going to be looking for. But also, social media scores are like critical. If you can say, this actor has 50,000 following, this actor has 20,000, this actor has 100,000, this actor's got 60,000. Holy cow! You know, this has not only increased our viewing audience. Look at all the fans we've got, and if this were a movie and you go to theaters, we've already got this many that are going to most likely be guaranteed to come and see this movie. So social media is, at this point in time, it is like, I'd say, one of the number one things for your career, besides working your craft every day. And so my advice in working your craft every day is write 10 characters down, okay? And just come up with a sentence. You could be driving down the road and you could be working on your acting. It could be something like, get out of my way. How would you say get out of the way? If I just say get out of the way to my mother, it'd be kind of like, come on, get out of my way, okay? You know, you used to say get out of your way to, you know what I'm saying? To your husband, to your son, to, you know, your antagonist, you know, get out of my way, you know. And come up with, just because you got to get used to doing situation and relationship. Because the minute you get your lines, all of a sudden your mind goes to the lines. Okay? And I would suggest do not memorize it. Memorize it with all of this underneath the lines. Memorize it with your situation, your relationship, your strongest possible choice underneath the lines. And not generic choices, not coworker, or could be a neighbor. Strongest possible choice, the strongest possible scene. Ask all the who, what, where, why, when, how. One thing we talk about is substitution. maybe you've never like auditioned for American Idol before. But what have you auditioned for? What have you been successful at? Have that underneath the lines. Okay, so you can substitute something underneath the lines. I don't, like if I said, I speak fluent German. I don't speak fluent German, but I speak fluent English. So I could say, I speak fluent German. I'm thinking English underneath the lines. Do substitution, okay? Because if it doesn't make sense to me, it's not going to come across and making sense to them. Okay, so if you don't know what it means, look it up, find out. It's part of your trade. Never go into an audition and ask the casting director, how do you want me to do this? Yeah. He's going to say, well, that's your job to figure out. Yes.
I have a couple of quick questions,
Yes.
and unfortunately, this is like remedial auditioning, because it's been so long since I first took auditioning classes, I forgot it. First of all, should you memorize your sides or hold them in your hand? And the second question that goes along with that is I just recently auditioned for a part where the guy was going to be sitting on a couch drinking like his evening shot of whiskey or whatever. And so I went and actually bought a $1 whiskey glass at like Savers. And so my two questions are memorize or not memorize, and should you use a prop? If the side says there's something that you could go in, and whether it's a pair of eyeglasses or a shot glass or a hairbrush or something, what would you say?
Okay, so always have it memorized, okay? Why? Because you want to have every edge you can over your competitors. But always have your sides with you, because that protects the casting director. Because if this is a SAG film, he cannot require that you have it memorized unless he's paying you, and that's a screen test, right? But it is in your best interest to have it memorized and have your sides with you. As far about having props, I've had some of my actors audition for like top movies all over the United States, and I've had big casting directors say, lose the props. But it all depends. I've seen, I saw one actor audition for, her line was 1 slice or 2, and she actually pulled steak knives out of her back pocket and did the 1 slice or 2, and she nailed the part. I actually kissed a casting director, just said, honey, I'm home, and kissed a casting director, and I got the part. And the casting director laughed, and she said, don't ever do that again, you got the part short. So, but I recommend don't do props. It needs to be internal, and remember, it's all from inside out. Because if you're already out here, you have nowhere to go. So get your lines. The last thing you do, if you do all of these, you need to ask yourself, are my lines only 50% of my performance? So I've memorized the lines, I've got them all down. Now, have I got this down to half of my performance? Okay? And of course, you're gonna have your beginning. Your beginning needs to be a nonverbal beginning. You need to have a, when I mean nonverbal beginning, it's like you guys right now are communicating to me and it's nonverbal. Okay? You need to have a nonverbal ending. Stay there when you're done. They need a few seconds to cut. Okay? And maybe they love you. Maybe they want to see a little bit more. So, any questions? We're done. You guys are a brilliant audience.
That's it.